Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Hello, yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
So
Well,
the
thank you very much for calling me and giving me your time. I've been waiting for this interview actually now for half a year. So I'm really excited. It's really a pleasure and honor to talk to you.
yes,
Um, I've been following you on your forum, reading all your articles, and I've read all your books. Um, and those people who watch this recorded interview, and by the way, I just wanted to ask you, do I have the permission to record this and publish it on the internet?
of course. You're
Thank you.
Iranian is a pleasure.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions at the end of this interview from some of the followers, who have been following you on the forum. Um, uh, Partially technical and partially some other issues. And what I
As you
want
know,
to uh,
as you know, we answer if we like to answer.
Of course, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted, to set up the procedure for this interview. If, of course, I mean, I do understand. I've been, reflecting upon many questions which you, either answered or not been willing to answer, and I do understand because it's, somehow sensitive or because of tactical and strategical reasons. Um, First of all, I just wanted to ask you to just give yourself, maybe present yourself for those who have who are totally new into this field of research. Just introduce yourself and what is your expertise, and tell us something about the Cash Foundation, please.
A simple way, Cash Foundation. I was thinking to add something to it that people might understand it easier, is an space agency program. It's a space program. So the space program is funded by the foundation, which is a Cash Foundation. So when we talk about Keshe Foundation, we look at the space program. Like any space program, like a Iranian space program or the NASA or a Russian space agency, uh, astronauts, as I always say, they are worse than babies because babies, at least they can do something themselves. But astronauts, when you put them in a space, you have to decide everything, what they eat, what they do, whatever else. So as any other space agency, as you see with what people who are in a space lab at the moment, we have to look after all the needs of man in space. But the difference between us and the other space agencies, and the only similar space program as us is the Iranian government spaceship program, is that we look at, instead of the Chinese firework, we will call it rocket propulsion, and man's wish to fly like a bird, which we call it aeroplane, which we don't see any of these two systems in the working of the universe. In the Keshe Foundation Space Program and the Iranian Spaceship Program, we work and we develop the technology which the motion is created according the way the universe does. We have added to the knowledge of man. And the people who can't understand this difference, they say we are a scam, we are crook or whatever. Time has shown and time will show using of the fuel to get a few kilograms up in the space does not happen in the universe. As I always say in my talks, we do not see any wings on the earth and we don't see any rockets on the back of the sun to create their motion and position. All the positions and motions are created according to the magnetic field and gravitational field, the strength of one entity in respect to the other, and where they are comfortable, that's their position. This is how Earth finds its position in respect to the sun. We don't have a control room anywhere, as many as aeroplanes we have on the skies at the moment, and we've traveled to the moon. We don't see any control rooms anywhere in the center of the Earth, so I'm going to be there. Earth creates a gravitational magnetic field. The sun creates gravitational magnetic, what we call magravs. Where the strength of the two are comfortable, this is the position of the Earth in respect to the sun. And it's the same, our solar system creates its own gravitational magnetic field, and that gravitational magnetic field, when it finds comparable position in the strength with other solar systems and galaxies in this galaxy, that's the position of the our solar system in that part of the galaxy, and the galaxy does the same thing. We don't see any control room anywhere in the structure of the universe. So for the first time, we understand this process. And the major problem, the breakthrough has been that we understood the magnetic gravitational field and the magnetic field, what we call the atmosphere, is created by the same material. One is repulsion and one is the attraction of the two magnetic fields inside the center of the Earth, which creates this. We see it with a proton. In the smaller scale, we see it with the electron. So when you create an environment which is a copy of the Earth in your system, then you get the same effects. You can change different strengths, and different strengths we give it different names. We call it vitamin B, we call it iron, we call it copper. But in fact, all these things are a collection of a specific magnetic gravitational field strength as a whole. So when you understand this, then you play the game of God. And so as a space organization, we understand this. We don't need to take food into space because we can create gravitational magnetic field of, you like to have a steak in a collection, you receive that. You want to have water, you receive that. You want to have aluminum to construct structures in the space, you create the same thing. So now we entered in the world of creation, the way the creation is done. The ones who criticize us is to the lack of their own understanding. As we know, the first man who said the earth is round and is not center of the universe, they hung him and they killed him. So I'm the same guy now in a different scale. But now we have more intellectual people, more people who understand the working of the universe. So those are the people who start collaborating. Soon, in a few years' time, what we are talking and what we are doing now, it'll be bread and butter of the first year class in the school.
Mr. Cash, I mean, I've been reflecting upon the question why there are still so many people who have somehow, seen your interviews, and you just need. I mean, I always tell the people, don't believe me, don't believe anybody. Do your own research, read the books, read the literature. Watch your interviews. I mean, it's the simplicity of your science, probably. But what I'm curious about, it's a very personal question. I mean, what gave you the insights? I mean, where did you get your inspirations from? I mean, I know in the beginning you said, you don't listen to other, or you don't read other people's materials, and now I understand why. Because through the dogmatic and indoctrinated science, as you said, many, many hundreds years ago, the Earth, suddenly was not flat anymore, but round. So I think it's a lot of. Could it be that it's sort of a shock to many people that it's totally new principles?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Is shock to the people because it's so correct, because it's part of their own structure that they can't say to themselves, I've been so stupid accepting all this rubbish for so long. Nobody likes to confess they've been stupid. Yeah?
Yeah.
And this technology, this science puts this very directly. This is what I say. If you say you read my books, you listen to a lot of interviews. This what shocks people, how stupid they've been, and they have to reject it. Otherwise, it shows they've been stupid. Is that we've been told that by the world of science that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And depending on what environment you create around this matter, it depends what state you create, you will find it. If you have a solid, you put some pressure or increase the heat, it becomes liquid, and then it becomes a gas. And then you tell people that, or the present science, because of its stupidity, the same thing as the Earth is the center of the universe, has come up with this stupid concept that you cannot have solid at the room temperature and pressure. This is impossible. You can't have a gas at room temperature and temperature. And then now this comes to the stupidity of what being taught. And actually, somebody who's enforced this is true. He's a scientist who understood, but he didn't understand fully, and they made him God. Is Einstein. Einstein has made a lot of huge mistakes. He's one of the. He's done more damage to the world of physics. He should have stayed being a bookkeeper than a physicist. That first of all, that the speed of light is the maximum speed,
Mm.
and then with this theory of the gases and everything else, that he wrote a paper in 1920s actually supporting another scientist, that you can have a gas at minus so many degrees to a solid. I ask you as a human being, understand the simple biology of your own body. The body of man, in every shape or form, being your finger, your blood, your bones, whatever, even your hair, is made of different combinations of amino acids, which amino acid is a carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. And then these are four gases. So your body should be a big balloon. How come these four gases have become solid and become body of a man?
Mhm.
If you don't believe it, just press your fingers, as I say, across your hand, your fingers, your body. You feel gases in solid state. So what happens on Earth condition, a condition has been created where these gases at room temperature and temperature become physically, materially tangible.
Mhm.
And this is due to the creation of a specific condition, what we call gases which change in a nano state into solid state, what we call GANs.
Mhm.
So GANs is a conversion of gases at room temperature and pressure into solid state that become tangible to us as man. So now, up to now, the other three states of matter, which was a solid, liquid, and gas, were environmental dependent. Now we understand how gases convert into solid, become body of a man, and this is through the adjustment of the gravitational magnetic field within the structure of the gases. The gas doesn't change, still stays that, but its gravitational magnetic field changes slightly, that it becomes solid at room temperature. Instead of changing pressure and temperature, now you adjust the control of the gravitational magnetic field, then you get the same solid at room temperature. So it becomes independent of the environment. So the real fourth state of matter is gas. So now we understand. Then when you understand this, then you can play whatever you like in the space technology with it. So is it the science wrong or the man too proud to say I made a mistake for thousands of years? I said, and scientists like Einstein and other scientists, to give themselves credibility, try to emphasize the stupidity. So a simple question is, if I'm wrong and you say gases cannot be at room temperature and pressure, just pinch yourself, pinch your own body. You're pinching four gases. How come gases came to become solid, to become body of a man? Then you find out I'm not a genius. I just think the correct way. Then
Mhm.
you all become geniuses of the present time.
Mhm. Well, thank you for this explanation. The thing is, I think, well, still, you are aware that this is what you have actually come up with is a new paradigm shift. I mean, you said yourself, Tesla was a genius, but on a matter level. Your science, your technology is based on am I correct to say, on an antimatter level?
No, on a plasma level.
On a plasma level. Okay.
Plasma. When you work with a plasma, then depends how you define a plasma.
Hmm.
Then you understand even how Tesla used to work in the matter. The plasma is a very simple thing. If you get the center, a source, which radiates its fields out to the boundary which its environment allows its magnetic gravitational field works, that becomes its plasma.
Okay.
Because universe is made of different plasmas. It's the same as a plasma is like a balloon. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot blow a balloon in a cup or it unless it takes the shape of this cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You can blow a balloon in a room, it cannot grow any bigger because the four walls of the wall of the room restricts the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
Plasmas are the same thing. The universe is made of different plasmas, each one has its own strength. So the strength of the other fields in this environment dictates the size of the plasma, plus including the strength of the plasma is the material, the matter itself. So if you have a stronger magnetic gravitational source, you make a bigger plasma, it doesn't matter according to your area. If you reduce your strength, your plasma size becomes smaller. Now, the easiest way to understand the plasma is take a solar system. A solar system is a plasma.
Mm-hmm.
You have a source, which is what we call the sun, and as far as its strength can go, magnetic gravitational field, that makes what we call the heliosphere or the balloon of this, what do you call it, plasma.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in this plasma is according to what this material, this sun releases, and the size of the balloon, which is allowed by the four walls to grow. So when you have the plasma of the sun, because it's very large, this plasma,
Mm-hmm.
the fields, according to their interaction, have enough time to convert and lose the strength enough to become matter. Then that leads to creation of solar system as we have planets and the moons in it. Because all these moons and planets did not just come accidentally. Voila! This magnetic field, gravitational field of the sun has reduced in the strength. Somewhere they become matter, even through the gas or the state of matter as a solid or gas or liquid. And then they combined together and they made the planets, and that's how the planets are created. In the book number 4, which is getting published very soon, I explain even the position of the planets is temporarily because we haven't lived long enough to see the 4-5 billion years. Most probably, the position of where Earth is now, Earth will become attracted by the gravitational magnetic field of the sun, which is much stronger over a period of time. Another planet will take the position of the Earth, and life will start in the same process. It's very much like a cloud. You have a moist, it goes up into the become cloud and it rains back on again. The same process applies in the solar system. There is no difference. So our planet, most probably, let's say Mars or Venus,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a cycle of the process of the matter. So if you understand that, convert the sun,
Mm-hmm.
give a new name to it, because us nuclear physicists and physicists, we would like to say we are very clever, but we are actually very stupid a lot. We made a different name for the same smaller plasma. We call it antimatter. And cosmologists have made this sun, the center of this plasma, they have given a different name for it for a larger amount of it. They call it a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
So if you call it a principal source, you call it the principal source of the plasma of a proton, what is become fashionable as an antimatter.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the principal source of the plasma of the solar system. We call it the star or the sun, or you call it the principal source of the galaxy or the universe. We call it black hole. So, in fact, us physicists has caused this problem by giving a different name to the same thing. A drop of water, a glass of water, a bath of water, and an ocean of water does not change the characteristics of the water. Water is the same in different quantities. A drop of water, you call it the plasma of a proton. A cup of water, you call it the plasma of a solar system. Ocean of water, you call it the plasma of what do you call it? A universe. It
Mm-hmm.
just depends what's in it and how much of different things are in it.
Okay. Now, there's a question. It's always, somehow made me think. You also mentioned, the issue of the DNA in your one of your books. What does it have? What does the DNA have to do with? Or you say everything is plasma. Everything
Yeah,
is made of magnetic gravitational fields.
yeah.
So, you might have heard that there are some mainstream, or maybe even it's somehow partially acknowledged, but most of the mainstream genetical scientists say that 90 to 95% of the DNA is allegedly junk DNA. It's non-functional. What is it? What does this tell you, this statement?
Uh, First of all, you have to understand the structure of DNA,
Okay.
why it has a helix effect. It's got the double helix. We see that, we understand it now physically. It'll be explained in the book number 5 in one of his subdivisions
Mm-hmm.
that DNA is very much a structure of, we look at the spiral galaxies. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made of smaller amounts of different things with a backbone of the distance with the phosphor or what do you call it? Potassium
Mm-hmm.
or depending sodium. Because a lot of spacing in DNA and the helix effects is in one of the books I've already written about it somewhere to be published, is that comes from the gravitational magnetic field of the amino acid in a spiral bond, how they position themselves and how they have to keep themselves in a dynamic position of the motion. So it's very much like a train. You have an engine at the front and you have some bits of compartments in the middle, and in some compartments you have some load and some that are empty. The whole train cannot move without those empty ones, because then you can't carry the ones you have loads in.
Mm-hmm.
Because somewhere in the future you need one of these empty compartments. They like to choose the word of junk for it is their problem, but they are there for a specific reason, and
Mm-hmm.
actually are full of information which at the moment man cannot see.
I see. They
In
have to be activated, or
no, no, they're already active, but they are man doesn't understand their function.
okay.
Their function will become as man intelligence grows further. They call it it's junk.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the DNA of a man, to remember to replace a cell every 30 days on your skin, and you're born every 9 years, yeah, this needs a different kind of information technology, which man doesn't understand, and now they call it junk.
I
These
see.
parts are not empty. They are there for a specific reason for man, and then at the same time, part of these wagons, as I call it in your DNA,
Mm-hmm.
are to do with the man intelligence, which has got no physical dimension.
Mm-hmm.
They have the use for it, but man, the scientists at the moment are so arrogant because they think they something comes to their mind and they write on a piece of paper, it'll be is sacrosanct. But it shows actually the stupidity of these scientists protecting a few what they call, as you and I know, is called the PhDs
Yeah.
and professorship.
Mm-hmm.
And the more they get these little, actually, I always say the more of these abbreviations they put in front of their name, the more short-sightedness and arrogant they become, because they have to protect more little words. Yeah? We call them geniuses, but genius, you have to write the whole word, all the alphabets in it. And but when you put a PhDs and when you put when you're profs, with little words, the size of the brain goes to their abbreviation, and then they have to protect that little thing called PhDs or whatever, those words. And this is part of the problem of the technology at the moment.
I see. So what you're saying is actually it's might be a matter of time until maturity, or I don't know, spiritual maturity or technological
Oh,
maturity.
technology we understand more and more.
Okay.
A time will come when the man understands there is no junk.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a junk, it's a field which needs other bits to be in position. As I said, you have a train with so many wagons, huh? The
Mm-hmm.
last wagon which is carrying oil, and the middle wagon which carries, let's say, food, and there are other empty wagons. They are not actually empty, but they're going to be there that the others can be pulled. Doesn't mean they're junk. Without them, you won't be able to pull the last two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the lack of understanding of the scientists, because they can't see it. It's very much like you know now you heard about my CERN concept, huh?
Right.
These forsaken, God-forsaken scientists who have no intelligence have come up with this word of God particle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they spend billions and millions, and they say they're going to see the first sign of matter in the plasma, and that becomes a God particle. This is so stupid. These people, whoever came up with it, he wishes his name will be wiped out of the map of science, because the if you understand that the magnetic field of different strength, as they reduce in the strength, they become matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I are God particles because we become matter in the plasma of this solar system. These people been looking for a God particle. I'm here, you are here, and the rest of humanity. We're all God particles, according to their words.
Mm-hmm.
But as a word of science, as a matter, as a magnetic gravitational field reducing in strength, then they appear as matter. And if these God particles are to be believed, these stupid scientists at CERN, is that magnetic gravitational field of the sun, when it comes to Earth and interacts with gravitational magnetic field of the Earth, it reduces in the speed. It becomes other things which we call vitamin D and the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So all these vitamin D's, the rest are God particles. So shows the stupidity and arrogance of these people who are after titles and news for a few seconds, and soon they'll come out very much like Dr. Professor Hawking. I call him the biggest crook God ever created. As you know, we submitted a paper to submit that the black holes
Right.
do radiation and the rest of it, and we submitted the paper for publication in 2004. And
Well, they obviously stole your ID. I mean, it's
no, no, it's
obvious,
a
isn't
paper.
it?
He stole the whole paper. He
Right.
understood it, but
Right.
because he had the position,
Mm-hmm.
instead of opening the discussion, and now he changed his mind the day I received a letter that it will not be published.
Mm-hmm.
So I put my paper and the paper from the scientific organization who is supposed to be, he was supposed to be the peer reviewing, or the journal who's supposed to be leading journal in astrophysics to publish the paper. They didn't do it, and the day they gave me the letter, they won't publish it. He announces on the 8th of July of 2004 that he changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So this peer reviewing. Now, if you are a real scientist, you do what I do. I put my thoughts, I put my work on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I put my work as a pattern on the published papers in the open for other people to peer review according to their own understanding.
Right.
Yeah. So if you are a nuclear physicist, the amount you understand, that's your limit. If you're a housewife, you understand the basic physics, that's your limit.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future, when you're a housewife, your children go to school and you grow up and you want to do a degree in physics and you understand a little bit more of it, you understand more of my work. So you only take according to your own intelligence. And with this, we have finished with the job of peer review, and we stopped this intellectual property business.
Right.
As you see on my forum, we started a study group we promised for a long time. Now it's taking shape, it's been set up, and you've seen it on the design of the reactors. The Italians have built the first reactor. Instead of hiding it and don't share anything,
Mm-hmm.
now they put immediately the image, they pass it on to us, and we put it on. You can see the reactors. Our American friends have put their design on, and
Mm-hmm.
another person has put that. Now we opened up science to man the way it should be.
Right.
The reality is, this is the way it should have been, but some people became too greedy for material things in the world.
Right.
Now the technology is open. I'm sure our Italian friends, they start loading our reactor last Friday,
Yeah, I've seen it.
2 days ago. They tell me they've done. They saw something, they can't explain it, but they told me I know what they've done,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm waiting for them to put on their website what they've done. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen their website has been damaged today. I was trying to show it to the other journalists.
Okay.
You don't get a clear view. So there are other people who are playing around with everything at the moment.
I see.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay. Would it be possible? I mean, as an ordinary citizen who did not, study any, physics or whatever whatsoever, to, follow your if that is, implemented, your online lecture or your lectures live, to, learn your science, you learn your technology and replicate, the technology.
Not all of us can become doctors, and not all of us can become physicists,
Mm-hmm.
and not all of us can become what do you call it? Road sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of us participate into the collective society.
Right.
The ones who understand the working of the building,
Mm-hmm.
they do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
In the space level, the ones who understand the working of the system in the health side, they will do the medical side.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who understand different strength and different part of the technology, they develop their own ways of doing things. But we need everybody as a collective group to act. If a common man who doesn't understand the basic physics of the reactor, but he can do it, he'll do it. It's very much you have the most advanced labs in, let's say, in Italy, building the top engines for the best cars. They use the brain of thermodynamic and mechanical physics and the rest of it. And then you get the same man with no intelligence, but he understands how the system works. He runs a little garage in a village in Africa, repairing the same kind of engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same process.
Okay.
And the same thing, people in the future, a little man in a garage in Africa will do and make these reactors without even studying anything because he's seen how it works, he understands it. And the top scientists in Italy will sit in a Ferrari and do design the top engine with different combinations. At the end of the day, both achieve motion of a car in the environment.
Mm-hmm. I see. Mr. Kesh, there's an issue, on the issue of health and healing. Well, I'm working with people who are psychological or neurologically somehow in a disorder, whether it be autism,
We
uh,
all have this.
epilepsy, or whatever. Yeah. So
To a
there,
different
the
degree,
question
we
is,
all have it.
yeah. I mean, I've read also the test cases. It's unbelievable. I mean, just unbelievable how people who are totally disabled to move or to walk, um, and do you think that there are for most of the diseases, the technology is somehow um, able to
This, this technology is applicable to every disease on this planet and in the universe. If we cannot do something, let's say, with some diseases, I'm sure in a very near future now the scientists understand the working the way we set it up as a maggraph system. Companies like Philips Medical or Siemens of Germany or General Electric in the medical side will build system will which match the magnetic gravitational field of every disease and everything. Then this will become a norm. But yes, because the system is built according the way the universe works, the way your body has been put together.
Mhm,
Your nose suddenly didn't appear in front of your face. Your nose had to be built the way it is to do a function.
mhm,
And that has been kept in that empty carriage of the train, what you call your junk DNA part, which you don't understand or the scientists don't understand. So now we open the magnetic gravitational field concept of the universe.
mhm,
Then we understand why the node is here, what is the function of it, what does do for the only purpose of the nodes
mhm,
is to create and absorb a hydrogen according to the size of our lung,
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
or oxygen. That's the only thing it is. The oxygen we absorb is not much of the function of it because it's only a small amount of the air we breathe. So now we understand our process, we put it into motion, and then if the size of your nose is not right or something in the upper part of your nose changes, that what I smell as sweet, use as a odor of the rose, you smell as an odor of, let's say, cabbage. Now we understand how these things done, and we can adjust the brain to accept that adjustment that this is the smell of the rose, not the cabbage,
Mm.
because we understand the creation. So this technology will apply and you will be employed and what do you call it? Will be applied for every disease known to man on Earth and in space. Because in space, we'll come across new diseases
Mm-hmm.
because space is full of gravitational magnetic field of different size,
Mm-hmm.
and our body will react to it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the technology we developed is not just for somebody who has a MS. Even in a MS and ILS, we have made a huge breakthrough in past 24 hours. It's a breakthrough which is so fundamental
Mm-hmm.
in MS for us and in ILS, which I have four volunteers tomorrow here on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
which I had to redesign the whole system for them
Mm-hmm.
with this new understanding since yesterday. So it means after this interview till tomorrow morning they come, I have to build system. Otherwise, I can give them the old system and say, "Oh, this is what we have," but we don't work that way. So what we used to have for, let's say, MS volunteers, they had to have a helmet, a shoe, water, blah, blah, blah. From tomorrow, it'll be very simple system because now we got one step further.
Okay.
So this is how it's going to be.
Okay. Well, you see, I mean, I have clients whom I work with who have, epileptic, maybe not even severe epileptic seizures.
Epilepsy is resolvable. You can finish. We already done it. We understand the epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
and we have three, four cases that we've seen totally eradicated.
Wow.
Because we understand the process. We haven't
Okay.
done magic, huh? If I know how I can take you, let's say, from Vienna to Brussels,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, depends. You want to go with the aircraft, you want to go with a donkey, or you want to go with a car.
Right.
And the end process is getting to Brussels. Now we used to be with the donkey about even 3 months ago, even 4 years ago with our epilepsy. Now we got into a car, and I'm sure very soon we will reach the aircraft which can go faster. We
I'm
are
confident of that. Yeah.
we
Uh,
already done enough. We done enough epilepsy that we can see how it's
mhm.
done. Epilepsy is reversible totally.
Right. Right. That's what I'm convinced of. I mean, I've seen, I've read the test case, just unbelievable. The thing is, I mean, there are also, people with learning deficiencies or cognitive deficiencies. Now, do you think that it has also has to do with the change of the magnetic gravitational fields?
The
I mean,
thing is,
can one reverse it
reverse is a
or
wrong
prove
thing.
the
You're
cognitive learning
processing,
skills?
processing it. Yes,
Uh-huh.
you have reprocessing. You see, the one of the things which we are learning, and we always knew as scientists, our reality, we only use a small part of the working of our system of
Mhm.
brain. Now, what it doesn't work in one place, you can take it somewhere else, and they take it up, and you can operate through that part.
Mhm.
So, in a way, you can relocate the operation of the brain for certain functions.
Right.
So, what it becomes Alzheimer's, now we have seen cases that we had an Alzheimer case that when she was with us, um, she's a mother in her 60s. She loved to make pancake. We said to her, for example, what is the egg and flour and this is good for? She says, I don't know. Do you know how to make a pancake? No. Now she's back again making pancakes and cakes and everything else. And a few weeks ago, I mean, being totally Alzheimer's so bad, about about 2 or 3 months ago, her husband had to be taken to hospital on emergency for a couple of weeks,
Mhm.
and she lived on her own in the house. She can do everything again.
Right.
You understand? But
Wonderful.
she could if they were in a party, she was taken to toilet. She didn't know how to come back and sit in her chair.
Hmm.
Now she knows everything. She does everything herself.
This is something.
We haven't done anything. We haven't done anything. It's just matter of knowing where the organization is missing.
Hmm.
One of the biggest problem with the world of science is they haven't understood the structure of the working of the brain
Hmm.
the way it is, not the way they've been told.
Right.
Yeah? In the brain problems, in the brain situations, even like a stroke, you can reverse a lot of things with a stroke. We are learning more and more.
Hmm.
After the brain hemorrhage, when you go paralyzed, you can't eat or feed yourself, or whatever talk, you can allow brain to accept the function somewhere else because the function is part of your DNA, it's been registered.
Hmm.
It's just matter of if it doesn't. If you have a fridge, if you bought a fridge from a supermarket, if it doesn't work, if it works in your house, it should work in your neighbor's house too.
Right. Hmm.
And this is how the brain works.
Hmm.
If you can't get it working in your house because your plug is faulty,
Hmm.
you can go next door and it works there properly. Now we learn how to use the brain in its capacity. We are learning every day. We if let's say if we accept 20 cases
Hmm.
of different diseases, let's say in a month, we succeed in three or four. We learn a little bit in five or six, and we haven't found the right field, the strength, or the operation of let's say the last seven, eight. So we are building as we go. And we can't reverse everything, every disease, but we are learning more and more. And now we're finding more doctors and scientists are joining us.
Right.
But then,
Also from Europe. I mean, can I ask you
yes,
also from
yes, yes,
Austria
yes,
or German
yes,
speaking
yes,
countries?
from everywhere.
Okay.
We,
Okay.
we will make a public announcement very soon on the foundation.
Hmm.
The next 2 weeks, foundation will make amazing, very strong announcements.
Hmm.
This will change a lot of things. It was very much like when we organized the first ambassadorial presentations in the foundation center. They told us, you're crazy, nobody will come. And when some came and they said it was a failure. And then when we did the second time, they said, oh, it was rubbish. It was a failure because not all of them attended.
Hmm.
And then when we start offering the key to the governments of the technology,
Hmm.
on the 15th of November, American ambassador in Belgium accepted. They
Right.
requested to receive the key.
Hmm.
So we have a major second, the final move of the foundation,
Hmm.
which will be announced within the next 10 days, 2 weeks. And then we will see now that we open the science to all the scientists.
I
We
see.
open scientists to all the nations. And then we'll see. We started with a forum,
Hmm.
and now that forum, the scientists are going that way. Then we start the next step, and we'll see where we go.
Okay. There's a question from actually an Iranian from Sweden who's also been following your works. One of the question is it possible for every country which has received the cache technology to make the lift system, or do they need the ignition key? If so, when are they getting
We
it?
are
So,
watching the Italians. We are watching the Italians to see if they find their ignition key.
right.
Every ignition key is different for the system you build.
I see. Okay, that's what you mean by ignition key,
Yes.
because I thought you have some kind of master
No,
ignition
no,
key that.
no, no. You have to find out
Okay. Hmm.
the system. As I say in my talks, that there are as many different ways to make a magnetic gravitational field system
Hmm.
as are stars, planets, and moons in the universe. Yeah?
Hmm.
Earth creates a magnetic gravitational field, that's why it's Earth.
Hmm.
The moon makes a gravitational magnetic field of its own, that's why it's the moon and in that position. And the sun does the same, and our galaxy does the same, and the universe does the same.
Hmm.
So all the systems which are going to be produced by different groups or scientists around the world will be one of these stars in the universe. So you have billions of combinations to ignite your system.
I
You
see.
have to find out the ignition to your system.
I see.
But there is a common law to it, and that common law a lot of people haven't realized yet. And it's in all the patents and in all the books. They don't read it.
Yeah, but that's what you said repeatedly in your interviews. You said it's in the patents, it's in your books. But I mean, as a scientist, does one has does one need to read between the lines, or?
No, no. You know, in Islam, blessed Muhammad, his soul,
Hmm.
says that God has 100 names.
Hmm.
He's written 99 of them.
Hmm.
And he says, his soul, bless his soul, he says, if you read Quran from beginning to the end, you already mentioned the 100th one, but you never know which one it is.
I see.
And people are reading it for nearly 1200 years to
Hmm.
find the 100th one. Nobody has found it yet.
All right. Okay.
It's the same way.
Okay. That's
So
words of wisdom. Okay.
it's in there.
Okay.
You read it, but as I said, you work according to your own level of understanding.
Mhm.
So the key is sitting there, and it's actually um, a lot of it sits in the book number 2 and 3. We
Mhm.
try to make it more simpler.
Mhm.
But the thing is, if we give the technology like to the Italians who started to go ahead,
Mhm.
then the Japanese and the Africans will fall behind. We're
Exactly.
trying to catch everybody together and then we release it. But if somebody in between does it, good luck to them. We support them.
I see. But the best strategy is, of course, I mean, isn't it in your from your view that once everything is set up like sort of a grassroots activity all over the world, then it should be actually simultaneously. I mean, isn't it the better strategy?
I said to you, watch what we're going to announce. The foundation will release a video today.
Mhm.
Today on a forum on the reactor design, we are going to release we were waiting for our video section of the new server to come into operation.
Mhm.
And it was completed last night. So my webmaster told me, who apparently very gratefully, thanks to them, is all Iranian, is an Iranian team.
I see. From
All the
Iran or from?
Iran,
Oh, okay.
most of the Cash Foundation website, the forum, everything you see
Yeah.
is designed, secured by the Iranian scientists in Tehran.
Okay. Have you been heavily under cyber attack, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, yesterday heavily.
Okay.
But our server at the moment is standing it. We are watching it, we are monitoring it. I was talking to the webmasters. We bought one of the strongest, what do you call it, servers we could buy.
Hmm.
But we still saw a heavy attack yesterday. We are on a very, very extreme attack. Uh, we took up to 50% of one of the strongest servers in the world, which we could buy.
Hmm.
But we can stand more. There is no problem with it. But we have backups into it. We have other things set up by us. But our present Iranian, what do you call it, our webmaster team are Iranians, and hopefully we'll have the Americans and other scientists will join us together. We're going to open a forum of the support to international computers because some of them come up with some beautiful knowledge they have, so they become part of the webmaster group. So initially, is the team at the moment is all Iranians, and then we bring others from around the world to become part of the team.
I see. The invitation of the governments, I mean, I believe it was on September 6th. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, of course, you tell us what you want to tell us. I'm from Austria. I'm a citizen of Austria. I mean, I've really tried my best to somehow get in touch with government officials. I wrote emails. I also received emails. One of them I even, delegated to you, sort of send it to you. And through some inside sources, I found out that your technology has been blocked by a certain ministry. Uh, why do you think is that?
You see, technology like this
Mm,
has a lot of application and implementation. We have two choices.
mm,
Now that the Italians and the Americans and the rest have started developing their own reactors in physicality, we see it. This is what we've been waiting for. Because if you would have shown our system up to now, then ours was in danger of this and that.
mm,
Now it's in the public domain. We become part of the public domain to release what we have.
mm.
So the governments see us as a threat because it was made this way by certain individuals in Belgium.
Mhm.
The technology has been kidnapped more or less for the past few years by one man who thought he's the biggest, the strongest man in the world, but is actually the most insignificant speck of dust, I call it.
Mhm.
And they gathered people around them to benefit by the technology when they could not get benefited by the technology.
Mhm.
Because of their position within the structure of the government of Belgium, they tried to make us a terrorist organization and the rest of it.
Mhm.
So, as we saw with the presentation of the 21st of April last year and the 6th of September this year, the foundation on the 20th of this month will make a very strong announcement.
Mhm.
On the lunchtime on the 20th, we'll make an announcement. Well, this announcement will go on the 21st. It will be at noon. You watch the forum,
Mhm.
and this will show a lot of governments taking position or nationals taking. We take this out of the hand of the nationals
Mhm.
or the governments in the hand of the national. Just the whole text is ready, everything is ready. We are waiting for certain parameters to come in,
Mhm.
and we will show a different dimension into the working of the Keshe Foundation.
Mhm. Well, because I got to know a person within the government, somehow, let's say through the diplomatic channel, who could set up a connection for me. But I'm not the expert, Mr. Cash. So I was actually gonna ask you that off the record, but I'm gonna do this now. Uh, let's say on this interview, I mean, would you be willing to somehow support us when it comes to the presentation argumentation, why this technology is so
You
imminent?
see, the officials, as you know, I don't know if you know it or not,
Mhm.
we came to work with the Italian groups very closely because somehow we clicked. I think Persians and the Romans have been friends for too long. We understand each other's language very well.
Mhm.
So on the 22nd of November, just about a month and a half ago, on the last session of the present or the past Italian Parliament, the Keshe Foundation was discussed. The
Mhm.
operation of the Keshe Foundation was discussed. And as you know, I think you can read between the lines, we have a very close connection and collaboration with the Italians.
Yeah.
So, member of parliaments of Italy have came to the what do you call it to the presentations. They understood the power of the technology.
Mhm.
Different organizations and scientists are doing the same. They're coming and seeing what it is. They understand it because once they understand it's so logical, they can take it further.
Right.
We had the same. I just received because it's the first day back in the office since the holidays. I received a letter. I read it for you. You can't see it, but I can shake it. You understand? It's a letter.
Mhm.
I received a letter from the Committee on Science and Technology, House of Representatives.
Mhm.
These people were here in the Keshe Foundation Center in a large group paid by the government to come here to understand. And now we're following back through the ambassador of the country to develop this technology for this government because they wanted very rapidly to understand. And I'll read you the first, then you understand how close we work with governments.
Mhm.
It says, I, on behalf of the chairman of the Committee of Science and Technology of the House of Representatives, would like to thank you for warmest welcome and fruitful meeting that you kindly extended to our delegation during the recent visit to the Kingdom of Belgium. So you understand how closely we work with governments.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is the way things are done. We don't go short on how what we are doing,
Mhm.
but even in my meeting with the American representative, when we gave the key to them,
Mhm.
I said to them, you know clearly we're going to put this on the net that you receive the technology. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Governments are not afraid of moving advance and one step further in the knowledge of gaining knowledge for the mankind. So
Hmm.
we work with governments. Some governments were blocked because of the pressure through EU,
Hmm.
and the Italian government brought rank. And I'm sure once we start working with the Italian scientists the way we are doing, you will see the other governments don't want to fall behind.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So let me get this straight,
your
Mr. Keshe.
government will
Yeah.
soon jump on the board. Don't worry.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they find an excuse why they would not accept it till now. Don't worry, that's usual with them.
Okay. Okay. The reason why Italy is the so European Union country who has accepted technology and actually implemented it now.
No, 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 no. They haven't accepted. They
Their
requested.
request. Okay.
We gave it to them. They are looking into it in different ways.
Hmm.
They are developing it in different ways, and all was done because of the pressure by the public.
Yeah, that's what
Because,
I'm surprised about. I mean, why does it work in Italy? The pressure by the people and not
the
countries
thing
like
is,
Austria. So
I don't know. I don't
is it
know because
mentality or what is it? I mean,
no, no. Some people said and wrote on the website or misinterpreted what we wrote
okay.
that the Cash Foundation has given the technology to the Italians and is working with the Italians. No, we handed over the technology to them. It's for them to decide what they want to do with it.
Hmm.
And at the same time, independent group of scientists in Italy with the diplomatic connection and political connection set up their own ways
Hmm.
of developing the technology themselves.
Hmm.
You will hear a lot of announcements very soon in the next few weeks from the foundation
Hmm.
because we have finished in Belgium because we as you know we they raided my lab on the 25th of June 2000 sorry November 2011 that we couldn't shoot a flying thing.
Hmm.
These ridiculous inhumane people they attacked my they literally not attacked but they forced their way into my house and my labs
Hmm.
last for 72 hours, pushing my wife around, and they withdrew. They literally confiscated whatever that they could bring the technology to a standstill. But they're so stupid that they don't know technology is already moved out of Belgium.
Exactly.
This
Cat is out of the bag. Yeah.
this is 8 officers handling one woman and pushing her around. That is a Belgium in the democracy of the Western Europe. These are animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are leaving Belgium. We are finished with this country. So I cannot take any more of this nonsense with this bunch of what I call criminals, which exist within the structure of governments, and they find a different way to justify their work.
Hmm.
So now it's the same with Austrian or any other government.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's for them to decide what they want to do. We open the technology to all the nations. His Excellency President Ahmadinejad's office, they were interested in the space program and they call it the spaceship program,
Hmm.
which we announced in 2009 when I came back from Iran that the technology has been transferred. And now you've seen what's going on. Now the Italians are doing a different way. The Americans have transferred the technology to the key to NASA. NASA is working on our technology now directly, we know.
Hmm.
They received the key which we gave to the Americans, immediately was transferred to NASA.
Hmm.
And they are we waiting for collaboration and work with them. We just wait for the new administration to be sworn in, and we'll see what the next outcome is. I welcome the Americans and their collaboration and cooperation in the next step of space technology, the same as the Iranians. And as you know, we announced to both the Israelis, the Iranians, and the Americans
Hmm.
if United Nations is too far to sit and talk about peace for the advancement of the man, Keshe Foundation Forum is halfway in Brussels. Let's get together here.
Hmm.
And we might see that position soon. That we know things are happening, the governments understand the implication,
Hmm.
the borders has no more meaning.
Hmm.
So sooner or later they will come to talk, but The process of talking has already is in the very advanced stages if you understand and read between the lines in the media.
Mhm.
I
Um,
I should say, if
mhm,
you very strongly in a way, I would like if you read between the lines and you understand what I'm talking about. In our meeting with the American officials, when we handed the key of the technology to them, as you heard before, I put my hand across the table to the officials
mhm,
and I said to them, this is the hand of peace
mhm.
from Iran.
Right.
And the only thing you need to do is to shake it.
Mhm,
And I can tell you they have shaken the hand.
mhm.
This is all I can tell you, as much as we can release or we can tell.
Mhm,
Through the work and what we have explained and what they know is going on, we can clearly say that we would like to thank the Office of His Excellency President Obama
mhm.
to respond to our initiative for
Right.
world peace.
I mean, so we are. I mean, we're
In,
talking on the premise that
you know,
President Obama has
talks the
has
government
control
out.
over. Well, yeah.
No, the governments start talking of peace because they understand in the language
Mhm,
that at the moment Tehran, Washington is about 10 to 15 minutes,
mhm,
and there is no process to protect or
mhm.
to stop.
Right.
At the same time, the governments understand that the only solution is through peace talk. And I'm quite aware, and we know in deep down as human race that we're all looking for peace.
Mhm,
And I can say, as far as we know, and we can tell you, is that as I put my hand across the table and I said you only need to shake the hand for peace, the response has been answered.
mhm,
So it's for politicians in different part of the world to understand.
mhm,
And I would like, as I said, to thank the Office of His Excellency President Obama, and the same the Iranian President, His Excellency President Ahmadinejad, for creating the ground.
mhm.
The rest will be published in the papers in due course.
I see. Mm. Mr. Kesh, I mean, we're both from Iran. I still do have families over there, so most of my family is in United States. Um, but still, I have to ask you, whatever you want to tell us. Because there is a question, from a lady from Greece. She's from Greece, and she asks, do you see in the very near future a global or regional situation that would absolutely necessitate the use of your technology for peaceful purposes by whomever, thus showing the world population what has been hidden and denied by governments and or others?
You see, a lot of governments have to deny a lot of things because their own nationals are so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's not done to hide things, it's for the people who can't understand.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things in the world is there, but you cannot say because people don't understand. As you said, we are both Iranians,
Mm-hmm.
and in the culture of Islam, in the culture of Shia
Mm-hmm.
or Sunni, we in all the flags of the Islamic nations we carry a moon,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as part of the sign of Islam. And now our colleagues, our scientists, our friends in NASA made so much effort and they managed to get to the moon. And we know what they achieved or whatever. But in Islam, we cannot accept going on the moon because it's a holy. Now you try to explain to a village man in somewhere in the villages of God knows Shiraz or Isfahan or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that the man has been to the moon, to them is unacceptable because it's a holy place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is it true that the man hasn't been to space, or is it true just because we have to adjust the stupidity or the belief of a village man in somewhere in Africa or in Iran? So government can release as much information according to intelligence of their own community, and at the same time, half of the things are said are just for public consumption, local consumption.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, is the same level goes with the international governments. Yeah, there are a lot of things that the governments internationally cannot release even to the public because the public as a whole, even let's say the professor in Greece, will not understand it because it endangers his professorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there are things we know, world leaders know, and these have to be kept from for the public for their own safety. It's not classified. Is
Mm-hmm.
public because it's not known by one man. For for information, as you know, what do you call it? The Russian prime minister, who used to be a president,
Mm-hmm.
in an interview which he thought was off the record,
Right, right.
suddenly he explained he gets two suitcases.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can do speak like this before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they are opening the doors in their own way, very slowly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that we have the spaceship program where we create the same system as the way the universe works, and as we know, we are not the only intelligent people in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Life and creation, the way we've been created, is a normal process anywhere in the universe. Then you understand that most probably at the highest level governments have had or have information
Mm-hmm.
which is not good for public to have, even though the public would love to have it.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
see.
So I'm sure governments will carry on with the same process,
Mm-hmm.
and we will see a different dimension. But their problem is not the people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not the scientific organizations within these governments, yeah, who are working or developing different part of this technology to reach the intelligence of the people in other part of the universe, is that the people cannot accept the knowledge and the information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if you understand physics the way I do, we are not the only creatures in the universe. And
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean that's logical.
yeah,
Uh,
so we become aliens very soon
right.
to other planets, and if the planets have the create creatures who are less intelligent than us, then we become very clever people to them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, you become aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we're in the same process, part of the same pot.
I see. Well, I've been sent, private videos from Iran, where you can see, it's another discussion whether whatever that is a hoax or fake or whatever, but most of them, seem to be pretty authentic. So you see, spacecrafts or lightning or whatever. So do you think, I mean, the majority of the people of Iran have been informed in any way through any channels about?
They are informed. Iranians are more informed about the space technology, especially program, than the rest of the world.
Okay, but
Iranians,
have they been informed? I mean, via
the
the
information
media?
is there. Yes, of course. It's just
Okay.
that for the people who want to understand.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the Iranian officials, especially people within the military,
Mm-hmm.
they said they have no fear of UFOs.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does it mean? It means we have it. We have the technology.
Mm-hmm.
We have no problem with the spaceship program. The thing is, one of the biggest problem, as you know, the in the West the media is controlled, so the Iranians are shown to be stupid. But on the other hand, that's just in the Western world, in the way of Europe and America.
Mm-hmm.
But in totality, if you look at the reports from United Nations, which covers the whole Earth government, Iran, for 15 years running, has been announced as to be the leading country in the plasma physics and science.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that part because then it doesn't suit, huh?
Mm. Well,
So,
they have thousands of nuclear engineers. I mean, all around the world, right? I mean, yeah,
yes, but the thing is, when you say Iranian public, no, Iranian public see a lot of things and they are fed the information in a very orderly manner till they can understand it. And you have to, I could not understand, as you know, I did not go to Iran for nearly 30 years till I was invited 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
And I was surprised to see so much intelligent, true intelligent scientists,
Mm-hmm.
not by the book. His it's been said in so many ways. One of a country which was in war for 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
universities were closed.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, you and I are in Europe, out of Iran, because most probably us or our parents could not find a seat in university to be graduates. So they came out of Iran because there was only 100,000 seats for the whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
A country which has been in revolution and then in a war for 8 years, where the universities closed. Now we have 4.5 million university seats. Forget about the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So to even buy 4.5 million seats takes a lot of planning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the leadership in Iran is very thorough in bringing the nation up very rapidly in a very progressive way. During the time, if when was my time or your parents' time, in Iran, large majority of the lecturers in universities were foreigners. They were Americans or British or Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Now in Iran, 99% of the lecturers are all Iranian scientists and professors and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's internally bred, it's internally developed.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's about 10, 15,000 foreign students in Iranian universities,
Mm-hmm.
where in the past we used to go out. So these things need a lot of planning, but they don't tell you these things outside. Then it doesn't look as they are doing anything good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't take politics in anything. I'm a scientist. I look at the physicality of the matters, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, to even make 4 million seats cost a lot of money. To create professors to teach the children who sit in these 4 million seats is harder. And they're all homegrown. So Iran has a culture of homegrown scientists of their own, and they are very much like me who look independently into the world of my physics. Because they've been cut by other things, they develop their own ways, and that's why they are so advanced. The operations done by the Iranians, medical people, is amazing
Mm-hmm.
what they achieve. Yeah. So this European American isolation boycott of Iran
Mm-hmm.
was the best thing could happen to Iranians. Now, when the door opens, we become the masters of the science as we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we said in Farsi, we say we have a say that Danish, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is the gift of Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
We have it in our point, huh? So we share it. We are very humble people, but people misread our humbleness as our weakness,
Right. Yeah.
and they call us. We are playing chess games as Iranians. We don't play chess game
Mm-hmm.
because we're humble. We have a whole knowledge. We know what you're playing. We play your games.
Mm-hmm.
So and even to be able to keep this rate of growth of scientists
Mm-hmm.
such a level in Iran for past 30 years, it means it's a bigger plan in the background. There are people like His Holiness Ayatollah Khamenei
Mm-hmm.
who has foreseen this development of scientists.
Mm-hmm.
In one of his presentations, when he meets all the top brain of Iran once a year, when I was in Tehran, I listened to the presentation. He said Iran should not become a photocopying center of other scientists. Iran has to become the writers of the book that other nations become the photocopiers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mentality of growth in Iran. And the culture is our culture, and it's the same to share. So we share our knowledge. This is, as you know, I've said this before, When I left Tehran, after 4.5 months of developing, if it was any other nation, that's the American, British, or Belgium, they would have just given me my suitcase and say, thank you very much for what you brought.
Mm-hmm.
The Office Research of His Excellency President Ahmadinejad, they packed all my reactors, which are built in Tehran, and everything in boxes. They gave it to me to come out with it. And that's part of the development now. We developed the books written.
Mm-hmm.
It's the back of the reactors which developed in Tehran by the money of the Iranians. Yeah? No
Yeah.
nation will do such a thing because this is how exactly now we transfer the same way knowledge in our study group and the forum.
Mm-hmm.
Gift is given by the Iranians to us. We give the gift back to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? This comes from the wisdom and the confidence of a nation, not
Right.
out of fear.
Well, Mr. Cash, I mean, well, Iran has had time now. I mean, many years now to implement with your help or your technology, actually. They must have had time now to, well, that's how I imagine it, to build a whole fleet of spacecrafts.
They are testing. Well, that's what you think you're seeing in Tehran.
Mm-hmm.
What the videos they are giving you, you think is coming out of nowhere?
Exactly.
So they are very, very structured, very organized. Um, you have to give me 1 second because I have another interview.
Yeah,
Just stay online. I'll come back here.
sure. Thank you. Mhm.
Just 1 second. If I get lost, I'll come back again. I'll reconnect.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm recording again. Okay, we're back online with Mr. Cash. Mr. Cash, I was going to ask you, you said in one of your interviews that Iran has the sixth generation of the plasma technology. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
They
when would
have
you
the
say
fourth, or they have the fourth,
the
not.
fourth? Okay, but they have had a lot of time now, to totally.
They're developing their own ways, huh?
Mhm, mhm,
Very much the same as we watch the Italians. The Iranians developing their own ways.
mhm. What do you think? I mean, are the defensive capabilities? I mean, if you want to answer that. I mean, in case, just in case Iran should be attacked, what are the defensive capabilities of this technology? I mean, what can they do once they, get attacked,
Can
whatever?
I can I explain to you one thing?
Hmm.
As you know, there was a lot of talk that Iran will get attacked by before the American election.
Hmm.
And as you know, there are reports on the internet that Iran will use this technology for absolutely peaceful purposes.
Hmm.
With this knowledge in their hand, in past 4 or 5 years, which they developed it to advanced stage, you have to understand the stage is very advanced. Otherwise, government will not go and say we have a spaceship program because they have one scientist doing something.
Hmm.
Yeah?
Okay.
There are a lot of scientists in the background working. There are hundreds of thousands of Iranians working in the background for different things,
Hmm.
which the collective section comes to a government to announce they have a spaceship program.
Hmm.
They don't. Iran have a space university now. They have a spaceship program. The space university is to do with propulsion, American way, the old way, and the spaceship program is to do with gravitational magnetic field. And when a government announces that they have such a program, it means they have to have a lot of scientists who developed it and they've done things with it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Iran is developing it and they're using it in a peaceful way, and they've used it up to now for a peaceful way.
Hmm.
The peaceful way is now they captured, as you know, we gave a presentation on
Right.
the 3rd of December last year,
Hmm.
and we said that Iran will show the power of this technology very soon, and the following day or so, the
Hmm.
American drone was captured.
Hmm.
And strange enough, if you look at the press again, on the 3rd of December, again on the anniversary of the day, we announced that Iran will show the power of this technology because the week before they stopped us showing it. On the anniversary of the 3rd of December, if you go back on the press, they captured another American spy
Right.
plane. Why didn't they do it on the second or the fourth? You understand? So the power and the will to do it is there. The knowledge is there. The systems are there.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be used and is used for peaceful purposes. Iran is a peaceful nation.
Mm-hmm.
As I always say, we haven't crossed our borders for 300 years. Now there are no borders to cross because the whole world is one piece for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we will never cross our borders because the whole world is one border. This is the this is one of the beauty things about this technology, that man-made lines on a piece of paper implemented by barbed wires and
Yeah.
walls have no meaning anymore. There is no use blocking, having the most advanced hospitals on one side of the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other side of the wall, a child of 5 has to die of the simplest diseases.
Mm-hmm.
These things are finished. The borders, the lines, the countries have no meaning. So it's for the world leaders to get together as fast as possible to arrange how we're going to look after our people in each section. Is more sections than borders than countries. I think in so many ways, as I was saying before we break down before, was that you say Iran will use this technology for military. No, Iran will use it for peaceful purposes.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, as I was saying, the Israelis could have attacked Iran as they were saying they're going to do. Yeah, as I explained after the capture of the drone, we are all friends. We put a hand of friendship to our friends in America
Mm-hmm.
and to the Israelis and to the Palestinians. And what we say is, when a friend gives you a gift,
Mm-hmm.
you heard me saying this before, and you don't need a gift. If it was an enemy, you throw it in a bin. But if it's a friend, you give it back to the friend and say, I don't need it because I have no need for it.
Mm-hmm.
Friend can use it, at least he has a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have a spaceship program and we can capture a drone at 27-meter long, if you send the intercontinental missile for Iran, as friends, we don't need it. We can capture it. Where would you like to have it back? You're a friend, we give a gift back. Tel Aviv, Washington, or New York.
Mm-hmm.
So use of application of nuclear weapon technology is obsolete, is finished. Doesn't matter who jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Intercontinental missiles, Mach 2, Mach 3, Mach 1.
Mm-hmm.
Duration of flight, maybe a few hours. Iranian spaceship program, Mach 35, Mach 40, forever. How do you want to play? It's like catching a mouse with a falcon. Yeah? So
Right.
this process has already started. The implication of it has started. With the Italians coming into operation now and other countries coming into operation to develop their own,
Mm-hmm.
there is no borders, there is no barriers, there is no need for lines on a map of piece of paper, because these lines doesn't actually exist on the ground. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
God never created and born lines on the ground. This is Iran, this is America. Yeah.
Right.
So now this is what is needed for world peace program.
Mm-hmm.
World peace treaty has to be signed in a way that we don't need to make any war games, war machines, because there is no need for it. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
With one stroke, we have finished with the tool of war of man. And from now on, because as the Africans and the Italians and the Iranians and the Americans all have the same technology, is how do we like to wipe each other out now?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody will do it. It's very much the policy of the Cold War. They made as many nuclear bombs against each other, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so horrendous that nobody ever used it.
Right.
Now we are back in the same position. Now, yeah, Africans, the Asians, the Iranians, the Americans, the Chinese, all getting the technology and have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Americans will receive the key as the Chinese, as the Russians, as the Japanese, as the Iranians, as the Sierra Leone and Sudan government in Africa. Yeah, and Peru, I think, from South America. So there is no need for these wars. There is no need for making these war machines because they're obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
F-16, F-18s now are toys on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is a report very recently that two fighter planes took off on the border of Syria. It's on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
to attack what was supposed to be chemical site in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Report says that there was an Iranian spaceship program above the ground.
Exactly. I was going to
And
send you actually two videos where
yes,
you can see
yes,
on RT three or four lights in the background in the sky.
yes,
That
yes.
I was gonna
It's very
copy that.
simple.
Mhm.
You fly at 1,000 kilometer. I'll fly at 30,000 kilometers. Do you want to play? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Kamikaze can don't have a time either anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So that is enforcing peace through tools of peace.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So this is the beauty, and this is what we announced even today in your program. It's nice that you're Iranian, that we are calling for world leaders meeting
Mm-hmm.
for the signing of the peace treaty. Because that as of more or less past few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, all these fighter planes have no use.
Right.
They're obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of it is that the American leadership and the European governments are becoming to realize this very, very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two choices. We meet in Tehran because has been a tradition that, like Olympic, we always start with Athens, all the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
We meet in Iran as the world leaders to speak about the World Peace Treaty,
Mm-hmm.
or we all gather to a place we all of us live on the Mount Carmel in Haifa,
Okay.
in Israel, or what we call Palestine,
Mm-hmm.
and sign a World Peace Treaty, because there is no room for war.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are selling all these equipments of war, they're obsolete. Why do you pay 10 billion to buy or 10 million to buy a fighter jet and go at 1,000 kilometers an hour, where you can spend 100, $150, maybe $1,000, and go with the speed of light? Which
Or
fools?
even beyond.
Huh?
Or even beyond the speed of light. Or did
Put
you
it
say
this way:
beyond?
there is no room. We are calling for the world leaders meeting for the
Right.
signing of World Peace Treaty. It's the job of the world population to accept it and carry it through. And very much like the Italians,
Mm-hmm.
if your leaders don't want to attend the World Peace Treaty,
Mm-hmm.
we call upon the nationals to do so.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We will announce a huge move in the very near future.
When could that be, Mr. Cash? I mean, do you wanna
We have put a date on it. The date will be on the 21st of January.
mm-hmm.
That if the world leaders don't want to accept the World Peace Treaty under any banner, we pass it on to their nationals to accept it on a ground that everybody accepts to meet,
Mm-hmm.
and the setting for it is set to be done. So we will we release our information the way we did with the conferences for the ambassadors. We will let the knowledge to be known. The things are in motion, and I told you within the next 2 weeks the foundation will make its final move.
Mm-hmm.
And we work with all the governments. I am color blind, as I always say, religion blind and national blind.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews are as important to me as the Christians, as are the Muslims and Buddhists.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just the same God. We're giving a different name to worship it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So let's worship the same thing, and that's peace, and then we'll see where we come together.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kashmir, like your own foundation, it is non-religious, non-profit, and I'm also non-religious, non-dogmatic. But still, I mean, I've been, stumbled upon the Universal House of Justice, and you said, if you should not be here anymore, then your knowledge, your science, your technology, your patents, everything will go half to
No, 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 no. This is a
Is a
misconception.
misconception. Okay, then I misunderstood you.
Yeah,
If
the thing is, when I die, as long as I'm alive,
mm,
I have the foundation, unless I go senile or whatever. And then foundation is owned by itself. It's one of the few foundations in the world. Apparently, it cannot do it anymore. We've been told. We don't know if it's correct or not. That it'll be owned by itself. Nobody will own it. But 50% of the voting right goes to Universal House of Justice. 50% of voting right goes to United Nations. And
But you
this
emphasize not in the form that it exists now, United Nations.
United Nations will change when you don't have borders, when you don't have these dictatorships. Then you don't have five people to decide for the rest of the world because they're going to be the kings again.
Exactly.
This kingship goes, then becomes majority world, majority. Everybody has the same power. So just because I have a nuclear power, I don't become a superpower because we all have the same. That's how the structure will change.
So
And
what
then
you're seeking is an equilibrium.
I don't seek; it already set in motion.
Okay.
So what happens now? We have the world leaders or the governments or the world regional top people working as United Nations. They appoint one person to be on the three-member board directors. Then all the religions of the world, being the Christian, the Baha'is, the Muslims, the Jews, the Buddhists, and the rest, between them, in consensus, they'll appoint one man to be the second man on the board. And then the religious people, because always religion connected to science, the religious people will appoint or will nominate 8 top scientists around the world who can be correct between all fields. And the United Nations members will accept one of these 8 to make the third member.
So what is necessary is actually a council of wise
men of science, religion, and the community together. So because these men will get instructions from all the governments and all the religions and all the sciences, we hope that the council will be a fair one. And then all these patent rights and all these gimmicks of intellectual rights, yeah, will fall to nowhere.
Exactly.
So that's the time when the man will prosper. And I think the time has come for that move.
Okay. Mr. Cat, just in conclusion, I want to give you the floor here. I mean, you've said a lot of things now which you haven't said up to now in your previous interviews. I want to thank you. I appreciate that very much. Is there anything you want to say which you haven't said before, which is really crucial for humanity? Would it be your vision, your dreams, what you envisage, what you see as the future for humanity? I mean, you know, whatever that is, quality of life.
I don't have a dream because I'm very realistic. With the dream, you don't get nowhere.
Okay.
When you wake up, it changes. I called our webmaster yesterday morning, and he woke up and he was in the shock. I said, "Sorry to call you so early." And he said, "No, I just had a dream that the server has been attacked, and I thought you called me to tell the server has been attacked." I said, "No, no, no."
Dreams crushed. Okay.
Dreams are different than reality.
Okay.
But the reality is that because we have brought the equality of knowledge and equality of science, man will find equality in his own life and his own culture as a human being. Don't forget that, as I always say in my talks, we live in a little village called Earth. Now it's time for us to join the rest of our people in our country and in our world. So I have opened the door for man to join the universal community and come out of this little village Earth. Not because, as you will read the papers which we're going to release very soon, it's that we have not been left out or we have not seen anybody outside because we deliberately have been left out because of our behavior, animal behavior. Once we find peace and find out there is no need to fight to have things, you can have as much as you like what you like, then you find out the doors opens us for us to join the universal community. And that's the purpose of the Keshe Foundation.
Do you think that humanity is spiritually mature for your technology?
We don't need it spiritually. We have it when we have it physically. Most of the problems in this world at the moment is you're working 24 hours a day to feed yourself and to clothe yourself, to have a shelter and not to go hungry. When you have a system which makes you as much food, as much water as you need, and much energy to keep you warm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so there is no more greed. And this is all not a theory anymore. We've seen it with the Italians and other people who are building these systems. That when we get to that point, then we'll see you can have whatever. How many tons of gold do you need? I'll make it for you tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need in Tehran. When I made it, they thought I'm crazy. But if you understand gravitational gold, atom of gold is made of plasmas of electron and proton, and that atom, we call it atom of gold, is like a plasma of the solar system, has its own gravitational magnetic field. It's the same as the Earth has its own gravitational magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
So I can create a gravitational magnetic field, the strength of the gold, so I can give you as much gold as you like out of an atom of oxygen or a hydrogen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So gold has no more value. It's
Mm-hmm.
finished. Yeah.
Okay.
So the greed goes out of the proposition. The greed is out of the thing. And then the man is ready to join the universal community. It will take a few years. It won't be decades. It's a matter of weeks and months. But because the evolution is so rapid that we'll accept it because it's so natural to us. We've always been with it. So the purpose of the Cash Foundation is to set the ground for joining the man into the universal community. And we've done very well up to now. And I think very soon we'll open that door.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One final question. It's because of my girlfriend. She meditates a lot, and
You're Iranian, you're not supposed to have a girlfriend.
well, then she's just my partner. The thing is, there have been studies on monks, on Tibetan monks who have done decades of meditation, and they have seen changes in the activation of the brain. Um, is there any connection between meditation, consciousness, and magnetic gravitational fields?
Yes, it's the same.
What's your opinion on this?
It's the same. They are the same.
Okay,
The
so
problem
it's a
with
good
man,
thing to meditate.
no, the thing is the problem with a man is used to physicality.
Okay.
When we see it physically, we say yes, exists. Yeah?
Mhm.
But when there is a physicality, it's the same as a plasma. It creates its own gravitational magnetic field. So when you squeeze it or you change it, it will release some of it or retain something.
Mhm.
Yeah? So when you put so many of them and which makes the body of the man, and you know how to control it, how to release part of it, if you release it the wrong way, it damages ourselves internally and become cancer, another thing.
Mhm.
But if you can direct it in a different way,
Mhm.
that it become, we call it the spirituality. All it happens, you get to know more of the function of yourself within yourself and within your environment. So I call it the physicality of the fields interaction.
Mhm.
You call it the spirituality. It's all the same.
But can one consciously um, change it or influence?
Yes, of course you can. You can, the way as you can imagine killing somebody,
Mhm.
and the same as you imagine how to make love to somebody,
Mhm.
it's the same process. You dictate the position and how you're going to do it. It's the same brain, huh?
Mhm.
We can use it to love and care,
Mhm.
huh? And we can use it to destroy life.
Mhm.
So you have to, when you meditate, you detach yourself from physicality.
I see.
That's all it is.
Mhm.
Huh? So you allow the fields internally to interact, but we still keep a connection between that interaction and our physical body, and we call it meditation because then we can relate it to our physicality.
Mhm.
You understand? So
Okay, I
meditation
will tell that my future wife.
all emanates from your own physical body, huh? Because you have a counterpart.
Okay.
I hope I answered you.
Well, Mr. Kesh, thank you very much. I appreciate really your time and your commitment. Uh, it can't be emphasized more than enough, but I hope I do have the possibility to talk to you some time again in the very near or far future, and
You're
I
welcome.
want to wish you all the best. And
You're
I want to contribute, my part, and that is, spread the word and and get the truth out, because that's always been my intention. So,
Thank you very much. Can you send me the link that we can connect it
of
on
course,
the forum?
certainly,
Yeah?
certainly I will.
Thank you
Yes.
very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cash. All
Thank
the
you.
best to you. Best wishes.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye bye.